Exploding Dice Radio.
Hey everybody, Ruckdog here. I'm back with another unboxing video, and today we're going to be unboxing this bad boy. This is the Ice Maiden Super Carrier that Warcradle has reproduced based off of the original design by Spartan Games. I'm really excited about this one because I've wanted the Ice Maiden ever since it was first shown by Spartan way back in the Kickstarter days. And also because this is the very first Dystopian Age miniature that Warcradle has put out. So, very anxious to get into this bad boy, take a look, and see what the detail is like, what the casting quality is like, and give you some thoughts on that. So, let's get into it, shall we? Alright, here we go. So, first of all, gotta get the shrink wrap here off. Now, as I'm doing this, I gotta say this box is pretty nice. Now, Warcradle has said in a couple of places, such as the Facebook page, that this is not retail packaging. You can see why. There's really not much on here other than a very shiny logo and then Dystopian Wars here on the end. But the look of the box is kind of a nice rusted metal look, which is pretty cool. And it's not a bad way to go as far as packaging goes, but like I said, this should probably not be an indication of what the final retail packaging might look like. Alright, so we open up the box, and here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and set this to the side for now. So here we go, this would be, looks like the main body. Almost looks like it's a, like the size of a decent sized shoe almost, like a size 10 or 11 shoe. Pretty crazy. And here we go, look at that. Now, I also immediately noticed that this guy is hollow, which is interesting. To the best of my knowledge, Spartan never did any kind of hollow models like that, so that's another interesting point. So there we go. That's definitely the main body of the ship. Let's start looking at all the detail bits. Alright. We've got, looks like a set of smokestacks there. Here is the island superstructure. Has a boat shape looking from the top down. That's obviously going to go right here onto the main part of the model. Here we go. Some of the doors with some nice little caution-like markings on there. It's going to be very tempting for me to paint those in a black and yellow striping. I love that sort of stuff. Here would be a set of the Tesla arrays that go to it. And let's see here. One more little baggie of parts. Oh wow, look at all this. So we've got some anti-aircraft guns, another small hatchway. We have a couple of those, it looks like, here. So these are all identical castings, it looks like. So they're probably going to be for going in various places around the model. Looks like we got a total of 6 of those. So there you go. This is the Ice Maiden 2.0, so to speak. So a couple things to note on here. Looking at this, the casting quality seems very nice. I'm not noticing any major areas of flash. I'm not seeing any significant deformations on any of the major subcomponents, you know, the smaller pieces here. So it looks like it's a very clean casting of the model. The material itself feels pretty robust. Definitely nice and solid. There's very little in the way of greasiness to the texture. So it seems like it should paint up pretty well. Probably still want to give it a quick scrub to make sure that all the paint adheres. So yeah, overall it seems like a pretty nice job. Now obviously I don't have another Ice Maiden to compare this with. I never got one of the original sculpts. But I will say that I do have some of the other Prussian carriers. So let's go ahead and put this guy up next to some of those other Prussian carriers, and we'll take a look and see how it compares. Alright, so here we go with my Prussian carrier fleet lineup. And as you can see, the Ice Maiden is significantly larger than, you know, the Rhine, the Elba. Of course, it's way bigger than the little light carrier here. And even is almost twice as long as the Imperium, so pretty impressive overall. Now, this is a question that's been brought up by a few folks looking at pictures online. And it's in regards to the decking detail on the Ice Maiden. If I can pick this up here and focus in it for a second. The concerns have been mostly that the decking detail on this ship is a lot finer than the decking detail on previous carrier models was. And that both is and isn't true. So I mean, if you compare it to the decking detail here on my, see if I can get this to focus, there we go. You can see that the planks on this one are much, much wider. But that wasn't always consistent. You can see how much narrower the planks were on this light carrier here. And even going all the way back to the Imperium, the Imperium's decking was also much finer. And what I'm finding, as I'm looking at it, is that it seems to me like the decking on the Ice Maiden sculpt is much closer in line to the decking on the Imperium was. It is a little bit narrower, it looks like to me, so the detail is a bit finer. And this is, I don't have a precise measurement here, but just sort of feeling it with my finger on both models, it definitely feels like the decking on the Imperium is a little deeper in terms of the depth. Now, my Rhine, the decking detail on this was relatively shallow, and you can see how the lines maybe got a little bit more muddled in the decking compared to, say, the much sharper relief of the planking here on my Elba. And honestly, it doesn't look bad. This is plenty good enough for tabletop quality. And I would say that the decking on the Ice Maiden that Warcradle has produced is definitely as deep, if not deeper, than the planking on my Rhine assault carrier. So, me personally, I'm not too worried about the planking detail on the Ice Maiden. I think it'll probably paint up just fine, although you'll probably want to be careful how thickly you're priming it and that sort of thing. So, another question I've seen raised is worries about nooks and crannies. I mean, there are some pretty deep recesses back inside this model, but near as I can tell, these deep recesses and pockets were all on the original Ice Maiden model, so I think that that's probably still pretty much par for the course. One other small detail I noted is that it looks like there was a small repair. I'm not sure if this was a casting issue or a design issue. It seems like the wall of the model got a little thin in this plot, so there was some sort of repair done. It looks pretty seamless from the outside. You can't tell that there's anything on the inside of the model, so unless somebody picks the thing up, flips it over, and looks, you're never going to tell. So I'm not too worried about that. Well, in case anybody was worrying, I don't have any unpainted Prussian carriers hanging around. I do have this unpainted Blazing Sun model hanging around, and that just gives you another unpainted comparison there between the decking details. And you can see that, yes, the Ice Maiden's decking detail is a little finer, the planks are a little narrower, and the gaps or the spaces between those planks are a little shallower, but it's still fairly comparable. And it's not like it's a dramatic difference that won't blend in at all. This also gives a decent comparison between the resins used. Obviously, the Spartan resin looks a little bit lighter in color. Not that it really makes a whole lot of difference, but just an interesting point of comparison. All right. So, I think that's pretty much all there is to see. One last note in regards to the Ice Maiden is that, of course, they've added the bomber models to the deck, and they've even got one back here with its wings folded. See if I can get a close-up. Yeah, see, isn't that pretty neat? And there's one on deck with the wings folded out. And, of course, all of the fighters have what appears to be some sort of little starting card or some other piece of equipment next to it, which is a neat little additional touch there. But anyway, where I was going with this is that even though we have the SAS or the small flyers here on the deck, the model doesn't come with any tokens. So hopefully, if you're out there and have ordered an Ice Maiden, you've got some spare Tiny Flyer tokens flying around, because there were not any in the box. Not a huge deal. Personally, I've got more of those things I know what to do with, but in case there's someone out there that doesn't, just be advised there's no Tiny Flyers in the box. Alright, well, I think that'll about do it for the show and tell. Let's go ahead and do final thoughts, and we'll be on our way. Well, everybody, in the end, I have to say I'm pretty happy with this Ice Maiden. It is a very large model, very hefty. It has all kinds of really great detail on it. The quality of the casting is top-notch, I would have to say. I mean, I have no complaints at all about the quality of the detailing or the casting. It's Tough to say if this is going to be any indication of the future of the Dystopian Wars line. I mean, this is only the very first model that Warcradle has ever put out under their new Dystopian Age universe. But I have to say, I hope it is a sign of things to come, because in terms of the detail of the sculpting, in terms of the production value and the quality of the casting, and just in terms of the overall feel of the model, I've got no complaints. This is a solid first step in the new relaunch of Dystopian Wars. So really looking forward to seeing what the folks at Warcradle have for us next. And until next time, this is Ruck Dog saying good luck and good hunting.